Good morning and welcome to the show. The topic this morning is the National Association of College and University Business Officers, and we're privileged to have with us two members of that association. First, Mr. CHarkelroad, who is the Vice President for Business and Finance at Tennessee State University, and Dean Doris Evans, who is Dean of Administrative Services at Roane State Community College in Harriman, Tennessee. And let me welcome both of you to the show this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. CHarkelroad, what we'd like to do this morning is to talk about some of the problems and perhaps some of the solutions within the National Association of College and University Business Officers. Now, these are the people who are responsible primarily for the financing of higher education, and oftentimes I think we forget how important they are. But I understand that the National Association is having a convention here in Nashville, and why don't you give us some information about that association and some information about that meeting?
Okay, thank you very much. The National Association of College and University Business Officers is an organization of all colleges, both public and private, throughout the United States and actually some foreign countries. This group meets periodically and deals with certain subject matters dealing with business and finance area, administrative, new tax laws, new policies, and so forth. The meeting here in Nashville is a national meeting. It's an annual meeting. It'll be held at the Opland Hotel. It's a convention site, and these will be people from all over the United States. And we'll be discussing different topics. The theme is in tune with the challenge of excellence, and so it's moving into the 90s and dealing with issues currently officers are facing. There'll be many speakers. There'll be some concurrent sessions. There'll be some seminars for the meeting, which begins on Sunday, the 21st of July.
Very good. Dean Evans, what are some of the problems in terms of talking about the National Association? What are some of the things that are common among most of the business officers who will attend this convention today? I mean, when you look at talking about priority, how would you rank things in terms of problems? And we'll talk about those problems, and then we'll talk about some of the solutions.
Well, this year, without a question, the number one thing on the mind of probably everyone attending this meeting will be the funding crisis that's common not just in Tennessee but across this nation. As you well know, many states have not finalized their budgets for the year even now, though we're already into July. And so this is something that's common to all of us. And these business officers and finance people that are here are from institutions, both, as Clay said, both public and private, and we have felt the crunch this year, and we've had to take drastic measures in order to meet the reduced budgets and funding levels that we all face. And so without a question, this will be the number one topic on our minds.
Well, I would imagine that one of the problems that you'll have to deal with, and of course not a problem as such, but one of the areas will be the number of students that you have, the enrollment of various colleges and universities. Let's talk about that, because I think that that represents the student aspect, the people that we, whether we're in administrative areas or business areas and et cetera, these are the people that we have to serve. And let's talk about students and enrollments for a while, Mr. CHarkelroad.
Okay, well, enrollments in Tennessee had actually been up over in public institutions for the last several years. Most of that growth in Tennessee has been at the two-year institutions. But enrollment is very important because, first of all, you know, there's a certain number of students that, as far as operating efficiency, that's needed. We have a number of students who, as far as their programs, you know, that we are interested in, students who are interested in certain new fields or different fields, such as, for example, nursing is a good example of that, you know, where there's a lot of demand for people in that day. So most of the enrollment overall has been up, and that is very important as far as overall funding, too, as far as higher education in Tennessee.
But we're looking now at an enrollment trend, as Clay said, that in Tennessee we are faced with increased enrollment, which certainly is good. That's a good sign that we have our young people are interested in furthering their education. But at the same time that we're facing more students, we're also facing less money. So we're going to have to do more with less. We're serving more students with less dollars. Say in the last 3 years, many of the two-year institutions in Tennessee have experienced up to 35% growth.
Do you think that that's representative perhaps of the two-year institutions, Dean, throughout the nation, of what is Tennessee peculiar in that regard of what?
I think generally two-year institutions have been up, but Tennessee is on the high side for sure, and certainly we're pleased. That's a very positive sign for this state, that people are moving ahead and understand the importance of higher education. Two-year institutions, of course, by their nature, the tuition is a much cheaper, it's a lower fee for students to have to pay. They're located throughout the state where students can remain at home and attend, so it makes it, you know, a much better bargain on the family for those that would look for, you know, the economy side of it. And yet it's a very good way to get an education. But the two-year institutions in this state have experienced somewhere in the neighborhood of 35% growth in the last 3 years, and this year we've been funded at the level we were 3 years ago. And that's really, you know, makes us have to step back and take a hard look.
So you're having more students with either the same number of dollars or fewer dollars.
Yes, sir.
Now, of course, is that peculiar to the four-year institutions as well, Mr. Harkelroad, or is that something that is left up to two-year? Now, what are the differences?
Most of the growth has been at two-year. Now, it's not all the growth, but most of the universities have been fairly stable. There's been a couple of exceptions to that, but as a general rule, it's been pretty stable. So the same problem, though, is that we still are operating at, as far as a state appropriation level, at a level we were 2 years ago. And so that is a problem for financially, even with the students we have. But the growth has been primarily at the two-year institutions in Tennessee.
Now, we talk about the lack of adequate resources and the increased number of students, perhaps at the junior and community college level. But what about faculty and staff within this arrangement? I mean, those are some areas that business persons are concerned about too, because not only do you have the students, but you've got a faculty and you've got a staff that you've got to come up with money for in declining or short resources. Now, what are you doing in reference to that, and how general is what you're doing, how general is that throughout the association?
Well, I think as far as the main purpose of all of us in higher education is for the students, number one. And of course to have them where they'll have the best experience, the best education, you know, during that period of time with their students. And to do that, I think you have to have top faculty. And to get top faculty, you have to have good pay. And right now, one of the goals we have in Tennessee and other states, but in Tennessee particularly, is to reach what we call peer average. Each group of universities and two-year schools have a peer group that they're trying to reach. And our goal is trying to get those salaries, faculty salaries, up to the peer average. And we're not there yet. In fact, we're striving there, and in fact, we'll be further behind this year than we were last. But that's a goal that we have, trying to reach that. And that's very important for us, trying to get our top faculty, which requires top salaries.
Now, what about the staff in this arrangement?
Same thing. I think staff, you know, is of course very important. You have to have good staff, good administrators, and good support staff to operate an institution. And they have to be sensitive to the student needs. And like I said, emphasize that, you know, the students is the main emphasis at the institution. You need the good administrators, and pay-wise, you need to also try to keep top staff and maintain salaries at a competitive level. But there's not a peer group per se that we're addressing there as we are in faculty.
Dean Evans.
In Tennessee this year, as you well know, we have not given any increases to any level of employees at the colleges and universities, the state institutions I'm speaking of now, for the first time in many, many years. And that was an effort, of course, to keep from having to lay off or, you know, eliminate faculty and staff positions. So rather than actually terminate people, the first step that was taken, and I think was a good step,